welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
the main man, Tyler Hymanson, because this movie takes place in Maine for some reason.
Oh, play on words. The main man.
The main man.
Hey.
Maniacs, as they say in this movie. You know, the Chicago central heartbeat of all of these franchises really originates in Maine.
I agree. Well, this week we're talking about the Home Alone, the Holiday Heist that takes place in Canada. I mean Maine.
It's not actually called Home Alone 5, but it is the fifth movie.
The fifth and final so far.
For now. And what year
The
was
fifth
this
in
again?
sequence and the fifth in our hearts.
This is 2012, you guys. 2012. We have fast forward
even that
into
long ago.
it's fairly modern times.
It's the present day where teenagers want fancy tablet computers.
It's true.
For Christmas.
It's true. Well, geez. So yeah, this movie was on another one on ABC Family, straight to TV, straight into your eyes, and straight into this trailer.
ABC Spark brings you all new family fun.
This is totally cool.
A world premiere movie event. New bad guys and a new hero.
The only thing to be afraid of in this house is me.
Home Alone, the Holiday Heist. Premieres Sunday at 8. Only on ABC Spark.
Wow, you guys. I've seen a lot of movies, but this is a movie.
Is this the movie that made ABC Family have to change into Freeform?
Possibly.
Is this what tanked it?
I made a big mistake, as you've probably realized from the
Ruh-roh.
last episode. I said that I thought the main character was a girl. And
You were so close.
I thought
So close.
the poster, he's like covering the entire sides of his face, like the way his hair is and his face is. I thought he was a girl. I'm sorry.
It's hilarious because
You thought by 2012 America would be ready, but no.
as soon as we were done recording and you guys left last week, I was like, I'm gonna go look at that cover, and then I looked at it again. I was like, I bet she just thinks that guy.
I thought
is
it was a girl. And as soon as I looked at the back of the box, I realized it was a boy and that his sister was older, and I was like, ooh.
his sister, that creepy girl from Silent Hill.
Yes.
If you remember that.
And Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. But I said that stupid line after the trailer because there's a line in this movie when they're driving to Maine. Like, the whole thing is this family is moving from California to Maine. And the dad, who's like Jason Bateman Light or whatever, is like, oh, wow, I've seen a lot of Christmas, but this is Christmas.
By the way, this actor was in the Academy Award-winning Best Picture Spotlight.
Ooh.
He was.
Who did he play in Spotlight?
One of the editors.
He was the light. I knew it. He was the grip. Hey, put the spotlight over here on these priests. Sorry.
So yeah, the protagonist is still a lily white boy.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like at the start of this movie, I was like, oh boy, they cast the most bland people ever.
Yeah.
Like it got even like more bland than the last one.
Like you called the dad Jason Bateman Light, but it's like Jason Bateman and Jason Biggs had like a weird.
Originally, I was like, he's kind of
Hasty
like
baby.
he's kind of doing like a weird like Steve Martin thing, but then I was like, oh, the way he talks is more like Jason Bateman, so I went with Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mom...
He's the average of all white dudes.
Yeah.
I guess the progressive thing is that they had to move to Maine from California because the mom got a promotion to be vice president of some company.
Yep.
And we don't have any idea what the dad does. It never comes to light, so who cares?
He wants to be a butler. No, yeah, I okay, spoiler alert, I ended up actually like thinking this movie was way better than the last one.
It is. Movie.
Unquestionably better than...
And so, yeah, it started off kind of like, oh God, I'm going to hate this movie. But then like the family, they're actually like real characters, I feel. And the kids, like I feel like this is probably one of the most relatable, at least to me, probably not to everybody, but the most like realistic family, I feel. The other ones are all like super rich people.
This was the first time that the parents really did not make a mistake.
Yeah.
Like they legitimately left their kind of old son with their much older daughter
Yeah.
and went away for a few hours.
And I feel like the kids are acting in realistic ways. And,
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, what they want is it makes sense, and
Yeah.
and when they're talking back to their parents, it's not because like this elaborate like, oh, like someone ate my pizza and milk was spilled, and like there was this whole misunderstanding. It's like it's just what kids do.
Yeah, and there's none of this like, I hate my family, I wish you were all dead.
Yeah.
And then they died.
Yeah, they're just like, we don't want to go to your boss's party, which is like a completely reasonable
Yeah.
request and probably something everyone's done at some point or another. And I think the boy, like we've been like, you know, we had Macaulay Culkin and the other kids were like, what if this like precocious young boy, I mean, this time they changed it and they were like, what if it's this much more shy and reserved kid who like doesn't, I mean, he just moved, but even then they said he didn't have any friends before either. He just wants to play video games. And like, that's kind of like a really now, you know, thing that a kid would
Finn
actually
the human.
be experiencing.
Finn the human. I think that makes sense, but then the movie, when he does start doing the traps, it's just like a switch flips, and he's like, well, now I'm a trap boy.
That's true. That's true. Which I thought, I thought that was great.
So I don't know why I wrote this, but I wrote murders his father. Did he do something horrible to his father in the beginning
Oh,
of the
he
movie?
tased the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Because this movie, although the first movie alleges that the basement is scary, kind of because like the furnace is alive, I guess.
Yeah.
This movie is like, this house is haunted.
Yeah. I really liked this because I feel like this movie, he has a lot of the same like Home Alone setup, but then things play out in different ways, or it's kind of like it's kind of like a mystery box, like finding new secrets in the house, like what's going on in the house.
I mean, JJ did produce it. So.
Yeah.
Also, if you're from California and you've lived in California your whole life, the houses that you've lived in are probably really new and would never have a basement. Like,
Or an apartment.
Yeah, or you lived in an apartment because, you know, no one can afford to buy property here.
I mean, we have murder houses in California.
We literally have the murder house.
Yeah,
but also, you know, if you're gonna move to an
Secluded
East
woods.
Coast, like
Yeah.
suburban Maine, like you could be
There's
creeped
like
out by the
old
houses.
world money murder houses
Yeah.
out there.
My mom is always horrified by the idea that like houses on the East Coast don't have fences in between the yards. She's like, well, how do you know where your yard ends and their yard begins? I'm like, they just know.
It's like when you hear your neighbor's gun cock.
It's just an unspoken rule, like don't go past that tree.
Yeah.
Don't go past it.
But that's horrifying to California.
Don't mow my lawn, you piece of shit. Don't. You do it wrong every time. He's got the squiggly lines with that mower.
Yeah.
So the reason that criminals come into this picture is because
Not just any criminal.
Malcolm McDowell has a woman in gold situation where a painting of his family, his ancient like great granny or something, has been taken. It's a painting by Edvard Munch.
Yeah.
Which as soon as he said it, I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
It didn't occur to me till the end, I'm ashamed to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the movie was so clever that they had to tell you.
It wasn't that painting, but they make the connection.
Yeah. I thought it was, I couldn't believe that he's in this movie. I was like, what is
Is that
happening?
a real painting, by the way? I didn't even look it up.
I don't know.
The Widow? No.
I don't think it
So
was.
yeah, one
It looked
that
bad.
no one's ever heard
It
about.
that looked like an art department painting for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. But I like, so yeah, he has like a good backstory for being like a
Yeah,
criminal.
it was
He
weird.
does. Yeah, it's better than.
It's not played for like emotion or anything.
Hey,
but
well,
like,
but let's rank here what we've had in this
Yeah.
in this series so far. We had petty criminals that wanted to
Sure.
make a name for themselves.
Yep.
Right.
That were
we got,
dumb.
Yep. We have that's Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. Right. Then we have international North Korean terrorists.
That were Eastern Europeans.
yeah. That's why I was like, they were North Korean? Really? Okay.
they were, yeah,
They were working
for the North
Yeah,
Koreans.
yeah.
And then we had French Stewart playing Daniel Stern, who has decided we're not going to rob this giant house that we have free access to. We're going to kidnap a boy.
Yeah.
After he
A
met,
royal boy.
after he met his wife in prison, which has other implications.
Yes.
And now we have Malcolm McDowell, a refined art thief who's trying to steal a painting.
And he's not particularly dumb.
No.
No.
So, like, his associates are pretty dumb. But he, like, Yeah, he gets caught in some of the traps, so he doesn't really make any, like, huge,
Mistakes.
idiotic
Yeah.
choices here. Their whole plan was that they were going to go in that house and get the painting before anybody even moved in.
Right.
So.
Which I love how the movie shows it. Like, it starts with the family, and then it shows him, like, hiring his safecracker, and Malcolm McDowell hiring his safecracker. And he's like, yeah, like, it's still on the market. If we move quickly, they nobody will move in. And it's like, that's not how escrow works, bro. like if they already moved across the country, that house has been sold for 3 months.
Yeah. So he messed up the plan a little bit. He was trying.
And it's like, oh no, they're already moving in.
But yeah. When they first got, they met up in like, I don't know. In my mind it was a limo, but I don't know if it was a limo. But I was like,
It was a limo.
I was like, God, like international thief, like
Yeah.
crazy thieves again. Like this is gonna be annoying. But then it actually ended up being fine. And one of the henchmen is Eddie Steeples, who is awesome from. I don't know if you watched My Name Is Earl or Raising Hope. Like he's great.
Yeah, he's
like
funny
character actor
Yeah.
guy. And I
He's
was like
also
excited to see
primarily
him.
known as the Rubber Band Man from the Office Max commercials.
Oh right, sure.
That's what it says when you look him up. And then I was like, oh yeah, that is
I see
him.
commercials.
Yeah.
It's an old commercial from back when I did one.
I don't remember that commercial.
My
at
name
all.
is Earl.
Yeah, I think of him as Darnell. Yeah. My name is. Yeah.
I watched that show like once.
Oh, so good,
Ethnic.
so good. Yeah, fair. But yeah, it's this funny crew. I did kind of think that the female character,
The head of security,
Debbie
who
Mazur.
was a lookout, a glorified like kick the can lookout.
yeah, she was kind of an unfortunate character. I think
She's somewhere between Missy Pyle and Alice Ribbons.
Yeah, but the whole movie, she's like pining over her lost.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
There's
not good.
There's a lot of problematic things with her
Yeah.
in this scene. There's a specifically problematic scene.
And-
That there's a point where she's stuck in the window and she's just
Oh,
getting hit in the
yeah.
ass by a slingshot, and then she's just like, "Stop smacking my ass!" and then like the two guys trying to help her, and it goes on for like 5 minutes.
She keeps kicking them. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not doing anything.
I guess it's similar to when Macaulay Culkin pinched that lady's butt in the service of being saved from criminals.
Yeah,
I guess that happened very quickly, and this
Yeah.
happens over excruciatingly
he-
long time.
Oh man. Well, yeah. So we get a
Like,
little
what
bit
is
of.
it though with this franchise and like brunette women with like kind of thin eyebrows and high cheekbones are automatically evil? Like,
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what John Hughes' ex-wife looked like.
because all three
possible.
of them like basically look the same. Like Missy Pyle had dyed blonde hair, but like
Yeah.
they all look very similar, like in facial. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess those are all after. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's weird.
Just
Like,
like
there's not a-
stereotypical evil lady look.
There's not
Yeah, and I
there's
feel
not
like
a through line.
The two actresses that are actually like, and actually even the other lady, they're always like cast as more like, criminal or bad women, and I don't know why. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the redheads are the nice moms.
That's right.
nice mom.
They're so magical. How'd they get
The
their
mom,
red hair?
the mom has like her Catherine O'Hara like moment.
The mom is great in this. She's awesome.
I feel like that there's a moment where she's doing like the speech. She's like, I just want to get back to my son, and I'm just like, you don't have it.
I mean, she's not Catherine O'Hara, but she's
Yeah.
like leaps and bounds better than the other two people. we
Sure,
have.
fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
She has a scene there's a scene later in the episode, later in the movie.
It does feel like an episode of a
Yeah,
TV show.
later you can feel the act breaks.
They're
Real
going to her boss's party, and the invitation literally says like, "Join me on my private mountain."
Yeah.
Uppercase. Like,
Yeah. Come to my private mountain, and it says teenagers endured.
Children welcome, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it said
He's-
teenagers endured.
For some reason, this boss is obsessed with having Santas with real beards. Like the
yes.
entire time, he's like, "These
That-
are the best
So,
real bearded
there-
Santas in the
This
country."
is the funniest part of the movie.
Yes,
to
I was
me.
like,
Yes.
there are two MVPs in this movie for me, and one of them is Ed Asner.
yeah, Ed
as the
Asner
boss.
is
Drunk
ama-
Ed Asner.
He is so drunk, and he plays it amazingly.
Like, I don't know, he's in a screwball comedy in the middle of this movie.
It's
where
so
like,
great.
what year was Up? Was this before or after?
I'd have to look it up.
I have it up right here.
Oh, okay.
It was after.
Okay, so he's probably like, I had to be all good and nice
Yeah.
there, and so this time I'm just gonna be really drunk.
Yeah.
and creepy.
But he's like talking with him, and yeah, he has that amazing line. He's like, I hired the best real bearded Santas in the country to serve eggnogs all night. So have fun.
On my private mountain capital.
Yeah, where like he gets her name wrong, and like he's just playing like a crazy rich billionaire.
Yeah.
Like
He's looking at her husband and he's like, oh my God, you're the spitting image of my butler, Matthew, who's deceased. And he's like, have you have any interest in being a manservant?
I think he even says something like, have you ever considered the manservant racket?
Yeah. Every time, like, we come and check in with him and he, like, grabs the mic, like, 3 times in this movie, and I was like, yes.
Here comes some crazy babble.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I wonder if that was scripted or if they're just like, hey, Ed, like, just fucking go for it.
Yeah, just be like, hey, you're going to deliver some good news, bad news. Say whatever you want. Like, here's what you have to say.
Because, like, he was on Mary Tyler Moore Show. Like, he's a funny dude.
Like, when, he says, like, he says, I've got some bad news. The storm is really bad and the roads are going to be closed. And someone's like, how long are they going to be closed for? And he's like, I have no idea.
He's like, yeah, I'll check on that.
Yeah, he just like this like weird like mystified like I don't know.
The good news was that they had enough drinks for
That's
the rest
right.
of the day.
Yeah. They were just gonna get wasted with the real beard Santas. That was like my favorite line in the whole movie.
And we'll get to the ending later just because like we'll talk about it, but like kind of his insanity makes the Deus Ex Machina of like how everything gets resolved kind of work.
Yeah.
Because he's basically, this might be one of the more fun depictions of like a Mr. Burns type character. Because like that's what he is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but not really evil, just drunk.
No, yeah. He's just like out of it.
I mean, he's kind of inconsiderate, but yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So the whole time, Finn has been playing, what's the name of the video game?
I don't remember.
Some dumb video game.
Like it was basically like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He's been playing with some online friend, and eventually it is revealed that the online friend is Justin.
I know, that's what I was thinking. It was me the whole time.
So
like, I really
why didn't
related
you
with
tell
this-
us that you were in this movie, Justin?
I was like, I'm really relating with this like video game guy who can't go home to visit his parents and is like thinking about how, yeah, you know, he's
And he was like a freshman or he was in college or whatever, and I think like that was sort of near when you were in college and would have
Yeah.
been like all alone or whatever.
there's a scene like where Finn is like saying like he's got to go. He's like, but he'll be back online later, and the guy's like, yeah, I'll be online probably for, and he like looks around like the next 8 or 9 years. And I was like, oh God, do I play too many video games?
He's a very strange character in this movie.
It does kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. At first, I was like, oh, is Captain Overkill somehow going to be one of the thieves or something?
Or is he going to be the weird Snowboy?
Yeah.
Snowboy? Speaking of Snowboy, he's the other MVP in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So like Finn's mom is like trying to get him to go outside and stop playing games, go out and meet people in the world. Like there's a boy who lives across the street, go visit him. And he goes over there and the kid is just like in a full snow suit and everything, and he's outside playing in the snow, and he's like, hey, what do you do for fun here? I don't know. And the kid's like, I don't know. I make snowballs. I have a snow fort. I make snow trees and snowmen.
It's basically the
I
shrimp
play-
speech from Forrest
I
Gump. but
play
with
hide
snow.
and go. He's like, I play hide and go snow.
And Finn's just like, oh, and he like
Yeah.
tries to get away from him.
But then the key part of this, he was like, we want to come over to my house? Like, we'll play video games. He's like, no, your house is haunted as shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. Yeah, I didn't take notes, but I was calling this kid like, yeah, the snow kid with no parents. He's always outside.
Always outside.
And he's always behind the snow fort. And
He's a child of the snow.
I was thinking the whole time like,
He actually is the ghost that haunts the house.
yeah, I was like, he wants him to come play with him, and he's going to go on the other side of the snow fort, and he's going to be some horrible monster that presents itself as a child.
Or he's like Frosty if he takes his hat off.
No,
he'll
it's like
melt.
he's the legend of the kid who died of exposure.
I just love that every time he walks by, he's outside, and
Yeah.
there's no parents anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Snow parents.
There's no parents. He probably turned them into snowmen, honestly.
Oh, well, there's one point in this movie where he turns this woman
Yeah.
into a snowman.
That's true.
And then is just patting her weirdly the entire
Well,
time.
it's a rather large snowman.
This
He
kid
wasn't
had
touching her
this
anywhere.
kid some thing with snow.
Yeah.
There's
I have snow
There's multiple
sex.
points
I
this
make
mo-
snow boobs. I make snow.
There's multiple points in this movie where
I
it's
wear
like
snow condoms.
where it's
I
like,
wear-
he's a maniac. Like they're crazy people.
he
like,
walks away while he's still saying like, I
here's
make
one of the
snow-
things that's okay. So getting some details here. So this house belonged to an old bootlegger. That's where this painting is coming from. He has a vault. There's a safe downstairs, right? And so the robbers are trying to get in there. Things are happening. It's a Home Alone movie. At some point, shit's going down, right? And this kid knows I have to protect my house from these art thieves that are trying to break in.
But first, he wants to just get his sister out of the basement because she got locked
She
in the
gets
safe.
trapped in there because there is like some mystery with this bootlegger, Deadleg Kopinski or something.
He was like, there should be a prequel with Deadleg, who is like the original Home Alone kid.
Yeah.
he set up his own like crazy house traps and stuff. But I love that this movie, like, the kid doesn't realize that he's actually dealing with robbers until like the final third of the movie. The whole time he's like,
He thinks
thinking
they're
it's
ghosts.
ghosts.
But here's the thing: the kid is old enough and has the resources enough to just call the police.
He really, this was like.
This
made
is
no
the
sense.
movie that like it's irresponsible. Like they make him like, oh, he's like he doesn't like his other friends. He's an indoor kid. He's fine. And then it's like they don't earn his switch to like, I'm gonna protect the house. It just makes it seem like life is a video game and I'm gonna kill these people.
Well, I kind of like that though. He's like, it's a tower defense game.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I like that, and all of his interactions with lonely Justin were nice. But yeah, there was no like reason why he couldn't call the police, which was at least set up in those other horrible movies. They at least set up like that kid Alex. He cried wolf to the police, or they thought he did, and so he couldn't call the police again.
Right.
And the other kid, like the butler and the old lady, wouldn't let him call the police. You know, but
Well, 'cause, like, what
this time, there's
happens-
really no reason. He even has a cell phone
Oh,
for
right.
a lot of the time.
He has it and he texts his parents thinking that his sister's gone, and then the cell phone just disappears from the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't have a landline.
No. It says, oh, it's dead, and it's like, well, charge that fucker
Yeah,
up.
you're at home. Charge it. Like,
He's too busy having fun being a freaking tower defense guy.
There's one scene in this movie, and it's after his sister gets caught in the vault. Basically, it's this back bootlegging room where he goes to get her out, and he goes to a hardware store. And it's just a montage of him buying shit at a hardware store, and then it rings up to being $2,000, and then he has enough for some twine. And the movie basically wastes your whole time doing this. And there's a previous scene where all the robbers are in the same hardware store, and Malcolm McDowell builds himself a boot.
Yeah, I didn't quite get why he was doing
like,
that.
Well, on
He
the
hurt
way
himself?
on the way out of the house the first time, because they walked in there like when it was like broad daylight and they thought nobody was home, but there was people home. They ran out of there, and I guess he kicked himself, and so he broke his leg.
don't they have like a mob doctor or something they can go to?
So what he does is
Probably.
he buys a galosh and then puts that's the singular for galoshes, right? A galosh. He buys a galosh.
It's like a boot.
Yeah. And he puts some barbecue tongs around it and makes himself a little cast.
Like a splint kind
And
of thing.
it's like, wow, like I guess that they went to a town and they're like, well, here are the list of the cheapest locations that you could get. And one of them's hardware store, so here's 2 scenes. They're going to kill 12 whole minutes in your movie of these 2 characters doing things that are completely worthless in a hardware store.
And that town is Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that scene was dumb, but it really didn't bother me too much.
I thought it was really dumb. But yeah, while he's out at the hardware store, he overhears the criminals, and then he puts 2 and 2 together and then decides to go do a montage where he's prepping the house.
Again, he overhears the criminals by crouching next to a closed card door. And because he runs into like this guy that he's never seen before.
And he's like, don't you have somewhere to be, you dumb kid?
Yeah. And he's carrying coffees, and he sits down, and then the thing that you find is that Malcolm McDowell's trying to get this photo because in the photo is his Gigi, which is his great-grandmother, mother. And so in this whole conversation, he actually doesn't say that it's a painting of his family or they're trying to steal it. He says I'm trying to get back my Gigi, but this kid Finn knows what he's talking about, I guess, because us, the audience, know what he's talking about. But if you're looking at it as what they're actually saying, he would have no idea what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah, I guess it's more just about they're trying to steal something. I don't
Or
think
did they mention the vault?
But then the next time he's like, there's art thieves trying to break into my house. Is the next scene? That's what he's telling
Justin.
Justin.
He tells the Snow Kid and he tells Justin that
There's art thieves. Like, they're trying to everyone knows what the Gigi is.
yeah. That's true. Sure.
So yeah, the traps I felt like weren't really that memorable. I guess
The one I do remember of the traps is that the tape. He puts a bunch of tape up, and that is once how I tried to catch Santa.
Oh,
I
It's
did
like-
like
it's like
that
a
one.
did it work?
I got somebody. It wasn't any tape in the morning. I can't confirm what happened.
I like that. They talk about like setting up. He talks about setting up the traps with the video game guy, and the guy's like, "Yeah, but they have to be able to
just admit
Yeah,
that it's
it's
Justin.
like they have to be able to set themselves off, which is something that like they haven't really talked about in the other movies. Where it's
Yeah.
like, in Home Alone 3, we're talking about like he had to be in all those places to set
Yeah.
those traps, and most of these traps can be set off by themselves, but there are a couple that he still has to.
One of them is
do
he
himself.
remembered a detail the first time they broke in. One of them ate a cookie, so he spends 3 hours baking fake cookies.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we also get. The montage scene for setting up traps is
Oh,
actually
the montage scene is insane.
it's pretty cool. I thought it's like this scene where it's like it's cutting around all the different things he's doing, and there'll be multiple of him like in the scene, like
he's
doing
doubled.
the next.
He's
Yeah,
doubled in
that
this.
was actually nice.
I thought it was really like a cool way
Yeah.
to do that, and like something we haven't seen.
I did like the cookie gag, especially when the guy drank the glue for some reason. I guess that's just like really horrifying to me. So I was like, that's
Yeah.
funny.
And there's actually another montage earlier that has like some fun callbacks, I feel, to the first movie. Where he's like, I'm eating junk food.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a scene where he's like doing all the stuff in front of the mirror, and he like shaves and everything, and then he goes and like puts on the aftershave, and then nothing happens, and he's like, meh. And he goes on to the next scene.
Because that's probably what would happen.
Exactly. Someone was like, we watched the first Home Alone. Why does he scream? It makes no sense. Just like we said in the podcast, it's like someone finally realized that.
No,
and,
it was
and made that ridiculous.
That was actually decent homage.
Yeah.
As much as it kind of annoyed me.
I mean, there were better montages than the last movie.
Yeah. No, that's for sure.
Jingle bells, jingle bells. They did have Deck the Halls play 3 times in a row in like the first 20
I was
minutes.
so mad about the cookie thing. And I was watching it with my girlfriend, and she was like, well, because he ate the cookie beforehand. And I'm like, don't explain it to me like it makes sense.
But
it doesn't.
But the kid mentions that someone ate the cookie.
I know. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense. Still, like, oh, well, they're going to come back. They're going to eat a cookie.
Well, he realized that like this dude, someone eats
It's
cookies.
a pattern of behavior.
Well, yeah. I mean, he realized it was the thieves. Someone ate the cookie. Like maybe they'll eat another cookie.
Because he realized there's no ghosts and that the whole time it's just been them.
Yeah. And
Coming in
I
the house.
also
Now you're doing it, and I'm angry.
I also love the idea of that guy drinking glue.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the glue is all over his face and the feathers come up, and then the lady's like, "You look like Santa." Like,
Okay,
which is
but
kind of like, okay.
I think
funny.
the less realistic thing is why when he turns the sink on, does stuff shoot up from
yeah,
the
I
sink?
didn't understand how that worked.
He installed a
Now
tiny
that doesn't make any goddamn sense.
he put a tiny personal fan down in
I guess. Oh, I thought that was great, and the whole like when Malcolm McDowell finally gets like up into the room.
Yeah, the final thing is like a big Wizard of Oz situation.
He does this like he sets up his room like it's like a haunted house.
Yeah, yeah.
And the ghost is like, get out of here. And that's like the scene where you get to see like the Kevin McAllister kid like pulling strings and stuff like
Yeah.
it does in all the other movies.
Yeah.
Well, and he actually like was like, say that you believe in me, I'm a ghost. And Malcolm McDowell to be like, I believe. I'm like, it's like the whole like, I love you thing from the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's where he gets caught in the wrapping paper and everything, and then Finn comes up to him and like pushes him down, and the whole time Malcolm McDowell's like, no, don't do it, stop, no.
Which also, like, the thing about it too
thought that was great.
is where like Malcolm McDowell's old enough where it's like he wouldn't be okay.
Yeah. Although I feel like there are less traps where I thought people would die from them.
That's true, but it's also like he's also not trying to like again. There's something about the balance of the violence in the first couple of movies where it's like it's implied that they're trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Where in these movies
It's implied and it's said in the second movie.
in this movie, it's like, just give him the fucking painting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
Like, what the fuck do you
Because there's
care?
kind of like this sad story, like, oh, it's my painting and it was stolen once before,
No,
so it's like
and
mine.
there's the thing. He has a legitimate claim to it.
Yeah.
But his sister's in the safe, so he doesn't want
Right.
her to get, captured by criminals either.
But the criminals get into the safe, and then they're just like, just give it to us, and we'll leave.
Yeah.
But
And
then
then,
they need to trap.
and then at one point, she's like, "I'll rip it in half," and he was like, "Okay, this is actually where he lays a threat down. He's
He
like,
does.
Paintings can be repaired if they're ripped in half. You cannot."
Yep. Yeah, totally.
I didn't believe him though. I didn't think he was going to rip her. In
I was
half.
like, can paintings be repaired?
No,
I
not
spent
really.
that time thinking like, okay, if that actually did rip in half, it would not be worth $85 million anymore.
but he was never going to sell it anyway.
Be like Banksy or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
shredded. Or the lady that restored the Jesus painting.
That's right. There's also like, I just love that, the whole thing with the house being haunted, like actually also gets to the criminals. Like they are also like, but right before they're about to go in it the first time, like Finn is all freaked out and he's going and turning on all the lights and they're like, oh my God, it's a ghost, ghost. And then there's a part too where like Malcolm and McDowell, it's not a trap, but he's just like climbing the wall, outside wall of the house and like gets his stupid foot boot thing stuck in Christmas lights. And then he falls and he's swinging and we cut to like the other two criminals in the house and you hear him in the background like, and like hitting the wall and they're like freaking out in the house like, oh God, it's the ghost. And he's just like, help me.
because it's ostensibly supposed to be the ghost of Deadleg, so I guess his dumb boot was just to like
Yeah.
make it.
It was just for
seem
that one moment where
Yeah.
he's like, oh God, dead leg.
But in the meantime, the parents are stuck up on Ed Asner's private drunken mountain.
And he's like,
eventually.
"We have good news. The roads are going to be open in 3 days."
She finally like freaks out. She makes a big speech about how she's got to get to her kids, and then he somehow calls his friends in the National Forest Service.
Yeah, he's like, "I got
to
some
take her
friends
out."
in the Forest Service." And it's like, sure you do.
He probably,
Ed.
I mean, if he has a private mountain, I'm sure he does.
And this was the saddest part of the movie because in the meantime, Justin has hacked Finn's account and found out
I
his
love this.
address
I
and
love
phone
this
number.
part.
He calls the mom to say, your kids are in danger. They've been kidnapped. And the mom takes it as a threat.
Yeah.
And she has Justin maced by the FBI.
Like, obviously, this isn't
She
gonna.
swatted him.
Yeah, obviously, like this isn't gonna work out great for him. He says all these like really like
Your daughter's in the
yeah.
basement.
yeah, no, it's your daughter's in the basement. And she's like, what? And then she goes like, I'm going to ruin you.
Yeah, this is one of the funniest.
And I was
scenes
like,
in the movie.
yes. She's
But
like
it
screaming at him.
It is funny. I
I thought that was great.
I had issue with it, and then like because it's 2018 and everything, nothing's fun. Of like people have been swatted and people have been killed that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
true.
it's totally unrealistic because when they, the SWAT team comes and they think that the guy's reaching for a gun when he's just reaching for the controller, and they go, he's got a gun, and then they all mace him.
Yeah.
I was like,
No, he'd
good
be
thing,
dead.
good thing you're white, Justin, because
Yeah.
if you had been even a little
Don't
bit
put me
brown
in
or
that
black, you'd be dead.
Yeah.
You'd be real dead.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So and then it results to all of them, all of the SWAT team and Justin watching the live feed of what Finn is doing.
Yeah, while the regular Maine police show up at the end.
Right, but they don't show up. There's a SWAT team somewhere that is sitting down like drinking beers, watching
Yeah,
him
did they
like
even say what city you were in? or where you were for
somewhere
college?
far away. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
and-
sure it was somewhere far away.
maybe it was Chicago because these movies just need to be in Chicago.
No, I don't think so.
So anyways, another final part of this is that the snow child helps Finn get away from the lady.
What member of Kiss is that?
He's the one with the carrot nose.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said, is this why another reason you said he's MVP?
Well, I just thought he was hilarious the way he talked. Like he had this
okay.
weird way of talking, and then just the first scene where he listed out all the snow. But yeah, he makes this snow
he makes
machine.
an insane like snow armada, like Rube Goldberg, murder hut or something.
He like cranks this thing and it like throws snowballs like chunk 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 and hits
because
them.
he's been making them the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
And she gets knocked out, and then he builds her into a snowman.
Yeah, which is real serial killer type behavior.
It really is. It's like
He's like, "Hey, Mr. Police."
Oh, it's a prequel.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
to the snowman.
Hey,
or
Mr.
whatever
Hey,
that-
Mr. Policeman.
Hey, Mr. Police.
It's true because he has snow parents, and that's what happened.
I bet if you walk in that door, they're like frozen in ice or something. No, but I thought he was great.
It's a real Jack Frost situation.
And I love when the cops show up and there's this like short scene. The cops show up and previously like to deter the thieves from entering the front door, Finn had put down like water in front of the front door to make ice, and they don't fall for it.
And
But
the
the
art
police
thieves are like, we're not gonna be falling for some.
which was
tree.
what he was doing anyways. But the police come running in and they like run up to the front door and they all fall over. And the captain guy's like, "You guys, not again!" Like this happens all the time to them. And I was like, that's a great little moment.
Yeah.
The blundering police.
And anyways, like when they all are back, and it's I think it's either Christmas morning or a couple days later, and the dad's like, "Oh man, like the FBI took back that painting, and like they went to the museum, and the museum's giving us a great reward." And everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Like, they've given us season tickets to the museum, but they're not good on weekends.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was actually like a really funny joke.
And then the dad's like, "But these international art thieves were wanted by the FBI, and they're gonna give us $30,000."
I appreciated that realistic amount of money. Also, like
Yes.
they weren't like $5 billion. Or whatever. Like
they're
most
just
movies
like,
would be.
oh,
It's like,
yeah.
$30,000. You know, that's
And
like
we
a-
moved to
I also-
three quarters of a semester at USC.
I also appreciate that they moved across the country for a vice president job, and the house is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't get flooded or something.
Yeah. No, I just mean like it's not like it's some like ridiculous
Oh,
mega
right.
mansion.
I
where,
see, I see what you're saying.
Like it's like no, it's realistic.
They didn't
of,
even
like,
have a dumbwaiter. So
yeah.
just
I
a
know.
Yeah, it's
secret-
not,
I mean,
is
is
it even a Home Alone
That's
movie
what
if
I'm.
there's
That's
not
what I
a
was
dumbwaiter?
thinking.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So the credits. Did you watch the credits, Tyler, this time?
What? They're like these are TV movie credits. They're like, I'm surprised there's even credits at all, but they're only
It was
like
weird.
2 minutes
Yeah, like instead of having a credit scene, they just basically did like pain recaps.
Yeah.
And they showed everyone being in pain, including Justin getting maced again. So it's just like, why?
Yeah, and it was like it was weird. It was like a slightly different shot than what's in the movie.
Yeah, there's just like another take.
Yeah. It was like showing the front of him going, ah.
So him faking being maced, or are they
Yeah.
trying to imply that
No,
the
faking
director,
being maced.
the director of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, maces people for real?
He might. Is that who directed this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yikes.
He also directed Garfield, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bill
boy.
Murray Garfield.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Speaking of other sequels and connections, you already mentioned the sister Jodelle Ferland. Oh, here's your child star check-in. She was in Silent Hill and Cabin in the Woods. She played Bree Tanner in several Twilight movies. And she's starred in this show Dark Matter that has a big cult following. I think it just ended, but people want it to come back in Canada, I think. All these actors are from Canada.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she was also in this sequel that we were making fun of around the time that we started this podcast, which is Bigger, Fatter, Liar.
Oh!
So
my
maybe
God.
we'll revisit her someday.
That was one of the reasons we started this.
Yeah.
I saw that movie existed and I was like, what?
Yeah, it was. So,
What?
Christian Martin, who is Finn, he's also a Canadian actor. He's currently has a role in Anne with an E on Netflix, which I think is just a regular TV show in Canada.
Yeah.
And he's one of the bullies who's mean to Anne. And
Is she from the Green Gables?
Yes. She is. He's 18 now, so he has started at Queen's University in Canada. And then finally, Snowboy, Peter DeCuna. I was like, this kid looks so familiar to me. I've seen him in something. He must be from Disney Channel or something like that. And I go looking at it. It turns out that like the reason I recognized him is because he was in this horror movie that we watched for horror movie night with the all female directors. Like
right.
XX. He was the kid that opened the box and then wouldn't eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, right.
So like,
See, he plays creepy kids.
Yeah. But yeah,
No more food.
he's only 15 right now. So he's still an actor as well. He's been in Rain, 12 Monkeys, and
Which I haven't watched, but I hear that show is good.
yeah, apparently so. And he has the same birthday as me. So April 12th. Woo.
But what's Ed Asner up to?
Ed Asner was most recently in an episode of MacGyver, right?
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not looking at it. I'm not looking at it.
Yeah,
that still on?
There's a MacGyver TV show, yeah.
Ay.
He's been announced to be in a movie called Me and McGee.
Is Owen Wilson in that? I bet he is. Oh, Ed Asner was in the Cobra Kai series.
Ooh.
Oh!
I
I hope he's drunk in every movie going forward.
And he was in a movie called Saving Christmas.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Well, he saved this movie.
He working.
Are you doing the like wee boy from Wreck-It Ralph?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that's it for Home Alone. We reached the end.
Oh man, I didn't know if we'd make it there for a minute. I was like, fuck.
And so many of you warned us not to on Facebook.
But hey, you know what? I think it ends on a slightly okay note.
Let's rate this one before we go on to.
Okay.
What's the rating?
How many? Shitty. Galoshi
Oh,
boots would you give?
Galoshi. I'm going to give this one a 5
Ooh.
Galoshi out of 10.
All right.
Well, because I honestly was like, ended up feeling like this movie was like not that bad. If you're like, I need to watch another fucking Home Alone movie, watch this one if you need to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not egregious like the last movie was. Just like, what the fuck is this? This movie feels like a real movie. It feels like it has real characters. There's actually some funny lines. Ed Asner's in it.
And it's more respectful of the franchise
Yeah.
than that last one.
And it's like, yeah, it's fun.
And then it completely sidesteps it and is like,
Yes.
here's our own thing.
It's an
yeah.
homage. It's
exactly.
not like a bastardization.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like, yeah, here's a girl and her name is Kevina.
I still want the female black girl being Home Alone.
That would be great.
Callister.
Like, that is the thing that they need to do
They
next.
need to go with a girl, and they need to go with some ethnic people
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes. Please.
And you can do it over like a whole year because they're trying to gentrify the neighborhood.
Yeah. They'll call it Medea's Home Alone.
I'm going to give this one 4 Galoshi. I don't think I liked it quite as much as you, but I agree with everything that you're saying, and that it is way better than 3 and 4. And like, it's like for a TV movie, I would be like, yeah, for a TV movie, like a Hallmark or Disney Channel original movie, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm going to give it 2 pairs of galoshes.
ooh. Oh wait,
which
2
is
pairs, so that's 4.
4.
Oh, okay.
Still better than the last movie.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it does. I'm going to quote one of my coworkers' favorite lines is that the only thing you have to do in life is keep moving and get out of the way. And I think that this movie does that in the Home Alone vein. It keeps moving and it gets out of the way of everything else that came before it. I think that it's a weird update of kind of what we all cherish about Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And it kind of, this whole experience of going through these movies has kind of made me realize that there's some problematic things from the other movies. And it's like when you try to update those themes and you try to update everything, not that this is artful and there's not a good way to do it. It just kind of shows that nobody really understands what made those first 2 great.
Yeah. I feel like this movie does a better job than what you're making it sound like.
Well, and one thing that we haven't talked about yet, because I've just been like not remembering to bring it up, but I keep saying, oh, I want a girl character or an ethnic character, but there are like, unfortunately, very different things ascribed by society to ethnic or female children being left home alone. Like, the only reason you could start the series was because it was like these affluent white people. Like, if you like have some black kid that's being left alone, people are going to be like, oh, well, you know, they're going to start putting all sorts, and we joke around about the parents being shitty in these Home Alone things, but no one ever like called child services, or that's things that happen to parents that are poor or not white.
Yeah. It would
And
get
also,
more problematic.
like, people are way more likely to leave a boy home alone than a girl.
And that's kind of what I'm. The movie does a better job than that, but it's just like when you try to extrapolate this out over like 30 years and things that happen, it's just like, oh man, like, ooh, like there's some rough stuff back there that I honestly feel like that this is the first movie franchise that we've done where after watching all of them and talking about them and thinking about them critically and actually taking time to look at it, I'm like, oh, I enjoy them less.
Ooh.
I don't feel like that.
I still enjoy
don't feel
the
like
first
that.
two for what they were, and they were made in the 90s, so like whatever. I don't really get like as offended by that stuff, but yeah, like you can't just remake it today. That's for sure.
You can't.
No.
That's why it's good that this one went to the side.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, and I felt like I play a lot of video games and stuff, and I really kind of
We know that was in the movie.
I know. I felt like I related a little bit more with this like kid and his like, I just want to play video games and don't want to go outside and meet people, like whatever. And I just thought that was kind of like a smart update for modern kids, like it didn't feel like this was some old person who was like, oh, kids play video games. He's probably playing some sort of Tetris-like thing.
But did
it felt pretty realistic to what like it's
felt
like
that? But then like I guess I got when she was like, "Mom, I want the tablet computer for Christmas."
Yeah, but that was
sense in 2012.
Yeah, I feel like that was totally made sense.
Yeah, it was just like the goofy phrasing of it, I guess.
I don't know. Then maybe she's just a bad actor.
I want the pink bedazzled tablet computer.
She didn't say bedazzled. That's the scene I remember the most. She definitely didn't say bedazzled. I'm just kidding. That didn't cross my mind. I was like, yes. I felt like these are more realistic, like modern kids.
It did. I do appreciate that when they had I have my online friend, like I thought it was going to be A, art thief, B, snow kid, and I didn't think C, lovable comic relief. And that's an interesting choice, and like I absolutely agree that setting him up that way made sense. I don't think that his transition to like Chuck Norris in this movie made sense.
Well,
but I thought that
he
some
did
of the
make
traps
that
were
ghost trap before he had even thought of anything.
He did.
I just think like I think that I liked that this one, like the first two have like are old enough and good enough that they feel like nostalgic and classic.
Yeah.
The third and fourth one feel dated as fuck.
Yeah.
And this one will probably eventually feel dated, but right now it still felt like, oh, these are pretty modern kids. This is a modern family. Like you could watch this now and be like, oh, I relate to this. And like a kid could watch this and be like, this was my favorite movie.
It was at least trying to relate to people.
And it will probably feel dated in like 5 years.
But I think it does succeed in relating to people, and I feel like that the dad is endearing and annoying.
Even without all the technology and the time related things, the bones of it are so much better than 3 and 4.
Like I wasn't like, why does this movie exist?
Yeah. So what would your ranking be for the whole series overall?
Oh boy.
I mean, mine, hot takes, and you're not going to agree, is like 2 and then 1, and then this, which is 5, and then 3, and then 4 is the absolute worst.
Yeah, I guess I would never put 2 in front of 1, but I would put 1, 2, and then I think 5, 3, 4.
I agree with that ranking. I think that in terms of sequels or franchises, what we've done, I would actually probably put this at the lowest because it has the the highest disparity of quality.
That's true. It does have the
Between-
highest highs and the lowest
This
lows.
lows,
Yeah.
yeah,
we've seen
of anything that we've ever done.
ever.
Yeah, so a lot of the franchises will be like a slow, like degradation of quality.
It's almost like gravity. It's like you're a satellite, and we're slowly plummeting back to Earth. And in this one, it's just it's like it's almost
flying and then crash.
It's almost kind of refreshing with 4. Like that, just having it being wrung out. I'm saying with 4 kind of destroying everything and pissing on the ashes, to have 5 come along and be like, there's still some ideas here that resonate, and they're like, maybe that they're hollow or we can't do anything incredible with it, but because 4 was just such a hollowing out in a way that it felt like there was nothing left. Maybe in a way 5 is uplifting.
Yeah.
But in terms of ranking franchises overall, this is one of the lowest for me, because I think that to totally bastardize the things that people cared about and that were universally loved, and then just to cash grab them and disrespect them in a way that and again, like I said, it made me question of like, well, why did we like those movies to begin with?
I guess I never had that thought. I was like, these movies are just bad. It doesn't make me be like, was the first one bad?
It's not that.
It's definitely
more
problematic.
It's
I
more
don't
the
know if that makes it bad.
It's
Yeah.
more the themes. It's more the themes and the things that, like, so when you take that DNA out and you extrapolate it and you turn it into something new, it kind of like, what mutations does that come from? And then that kind of makes me re-examine or look closer at the DNA of the first couple movies, I guess.
So where should this franchise go next, if anywhere?
Well, I mean, after seeing this movie and how it wasn't horrible, I did feel that, like, you know, given enough time and putting together the right actors and like an awesome writer and director, you could probably remake this movie and make it actually be fun. Even though you've seen the first one, you've seen the second one, like the performances could be what sells it. In the
there's
future.
a lot of people out there hankering and hollering for Macaulay Culkin to be a dad and leave his kid home alone.
Totally.
Which, I mean,
I don't
the
need-
kid would be pretty young at this
I don't
point.
need,
like,
I don't need to see that.
I don't
I know you don't
necessarily
need to,
do
but
either,
some
but
people
there are
might
people
want
there out there who really want to see it.
And I'm sure that those conversations have happened.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Or you can be home alone with a bunch of gnomes.
Yes, you could. There is Gnome Alone, which is like, I think it stars Becky G, and it's like a Netflix
It's a Netflix
thing.
movie, yeah.
Ay, it looks real
Sadly,
bad.
not part of the Romeo and Juliet franchise.
No.
I thought it was.
Which actually, Romeo and Juliet is not bad. I never saw Sherlock Gnomes, but Romeo and Juliet was tolerable.
Oh, God.
And we also saw on Amazon Bone Alone. Which is a dog that's been left alone on Christmas. I think in America it was actually called something else. I think it was actually called Alone on Christmas in America.
Oh, no.
But in Canada, they released it under the name Bone Alone. And there's an Amazon review that just says, if you suggest watching this movie with your girlfriend, you will bone alone. And that's how I saw it, because some Amazon movie reviews Twitter posted that and a friend sent it to me.
I feel like that there's something in these movies, and I would always watch a movie, and I think it will be good. It's an evergreen concept for any child movie or any holiday movie that kind of comes. It's a double message for the first Home Alone, where it's like adults don't have all the answers, and that you have to kind of fend for yourself and do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you know, you need your family and come together. And I think that there is cynical interpretations of that, which you see in these movies, where it's like, well, yeah, adults don't know everything. Like be rebellious and do these things and fucking drop lawnmowers on people's heads. And that never quite strikes that balance. And I think that the thing that makes the first one work so well is that balance of that fear of not knowing, like, what your parent, like, that your parents are wrong and they fucked up.
So there's one more, right?
Yeah, so I was reading this interview with David Lowery this week, and like later on in the interview, so he's married to what's her name here? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Augustine Frizzell, and she directed recently for A24 Never Going Back, which I didn't see, but I really want to see, and it looks amazing.
I heard it was good, yeah.
But in the interview, he was like, "Oh yeah, my wife is now she went from Never Going Back to working on this Home Alone sequel," and I was like, "What? Home Alone sequel? I need to know about this immediately." And so there's this movie that is in production that's being called like a Home Alone revise, coming from Fox Studios, called Stoned Alone. And I don't know if it stars Ryan Reynolds, but he is producing it. And yeah, it's about like a guy, a 20-something like dude who's growing weed at his house, and he gets high and he starts to get paranoid, and he thinks someone's trying to break in the house, and then it turns out someone is trying to break in the house, and he fends them off with traps and
You know
stuff.
what would be like an insanely bold move on the part of Fox is to have Macaulay Culkin star in that
Yes.
as Kevin, who's grown up, strung out, and growing weed.
That would be amazing. I would definitely see that. But that's a cool movie for her to be directing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope it's fun. It's supposed to be like hard R-rated kind of thing.
Nice.
But that was an announcement this summer, so I don't know if it's shooting yet or what. But if
We'll
we
find out.
hear about it, you'll hear about it from us.
Yes, and we will watch it if it comes out and it's officially connected.
Yeah.
Not like Bone Alone and No Alone. Those are not canon.
You will bone alone if you want. That's such a
Do you
great
think-
review.
I hope that dude has just like copy pasted that review on multiple movies.
Oh, God.
That's such a great review. I love it.
All right, so that's it then for Home Alone.
We did it, you guys.
And it's pretty much almost the end of the year.
It's almost the end of the year, but we have one last surprise for you
There's
guys.
one last gift underneath the tree.
We were looking around for something to do next week, and guess what? We didn't finish all the Benji movies, it turns out. Can you believe that?
There's more Benji.
Actually, we knew there was more Benji, and we planned this for you. But next week, we're going to be talking about Benji's Christmas story.
Benji's very own Christmas
Oh,
story.
Benji's.
Yeah, that's the full title.
He's coming to kill you.
The full title is Joe Camp's Benji's very own Christmas story, according to this DVD box in my hand.
Well, that is going to be a fun one for you guys next week. We had fun with the Benji series, so I'm excited to see what this Christmas special has in store.
What's going to happen? What's he going to do at the North Pole?
I don't
Save
know.
Christmas.
Is he
somehow.
going to meet Santa Claus? Is he going to fight a
I want him
bear?
to talk in this movie. That's all I care about.
All Benji wants for Christmas is a voice.
Not as long as Joe Camp's name is
I want
above
at the end of the movie he's supposed to go Merry Christmas, guys. That's how Benji sounds in my head.
Never.
I'm Benji. Merry Christmas.
Nope.
Woof woof. Have a good
Oh,
one.
God. All right. Anyway, if you're still listening, please reach out to us
They're
on
always
social
listening.
media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, @Sequel Rights. We hope you stick around for more franchises and send us your suggestions for 2019. sequelrights@gmail.com.
And please rate and review us on the Apple Podcast Store. Give us 5 stars. That is 4 more than the Baby Jesus got.
Hey.
Oh, come on.
And if you don't have enough Christmas, go back and listen to our Santa Claus episodes from last year. Those are Christmassy and evergreen and timeless.
Yeah, and you can finally learn that Claus is not spelled with an E.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'd like to also thank my brother for the Christmas music at the top of the show.
Ding dong.
We've been loving that holiday version. So, see you guys next week for Benji's very own Christmas story.